Hi and welcome back. So in the last couple of videos, we've seen how we can create our form, how we can build the form, and then design the form so that we can change any kinds of colors, we can change fonts. This is pretty much what we ended up with, but you can change yours however you want to change it. So in this video, I want to show you how you can use custom CSS if you want to change some elements on your form. Maybe you want to make this a full width element. I'm going to show you how to do it. Before I even go into the next step, the secret is in this. So if I click on this, you can see we have this one here, and you can use this to add your custom CSS. So it's not the best practice, but it works. If you add this on your forms are going to have your CSS. As long as Mailchimp allows you to add this, then you can use this to add your CSS. If at any point, maybe in future, they remove it, then there will be nothing you can do about it. But this is how we are going to add our CSS. So the secret to adding the CSS here is to know that this is a HTML editor. If you want to add HTML to something, even on Squarespace, normally the way that you add it, let me increase the font of this first of all. The way that you add it is by using the CSS HTML style tags. So let me make this 22 CSS style tags, and these are the style tags. So you'll put your CSS inside here, and then you'll paste the entire thing inside of Mailchimp. Okay, so let me just add this right away. These are HTML tags that tells the browser that whatever is inside here is CSS and it should be treated as so. So if I come in here, I can paste them, and I'm going to add all my CSS inside here, and then I'm going to save and close, and we're going to confirm that the changes have taken effect. If you want to change anything here, you can always select an element on the browser if you use Chrome or even Firefox. Safari, I don't know, I've never used Safari. I kind of like Firefox and Chrome, and nowadays I seem to be extremely inclined to using the Opera browser. So if you want to change anything inside here, you can just select an element, and this works like Chrome. Like this Opera browser, it's based on Chrome. So if I select an element, you can see here this thing about inspect element. You can inspect an element, and if you're using Chrome, or if you don't have Chrome, download Chrome and you can follow along with me, because this browser is based on Chrome. Okay, and just one thing, if you don't know how to use HTML and CSS, I have two courses, but there's one that I would recommend for you for HTML and CSS. You can join it and you can learn some of these things. HTML and CSS are very easy to learn. Once you learn them, you don't even have to improve your knowledge. They're just one of those things that if you don't know how to do something, you can Google how to do it and you'll immediately know how to implement it. That's how easy HTML and CSS are to learn. It's not difficult at all. You can take a month to just learn it and continuously polish your skills depending on what you need in future. Are you learning it to use it on something, or are you just learning it to know it? So it entirely depends on your objective. But if you want to learn HTML and CSS, you can just go to bizanosa.com/sp. So you can watch this one, full HTML and CSS tutorial for beginners. This one has a bunch of HTML and CSS videos, and there's also a small project, and that's the same project we're going to use in this course to embed Mailchimp forms on a HTML and CSS page. So join this one and just watch it on Udemy or Skillshare, wherever you want to watch it. Just click here and you can join it. Alright, so coming back here, the secret to editing anything on this page is you first of all have to select it. So let's say that I want to reduce the width. So there's a place for you to reduce the width of this, but let me say that I want to use CSS for this. I can just inspect the element. Okay, so once I inspect the element, you can see that's the image. what do we have here? If I add a style, what do I have? Okay, there's no way for me to select it. There's no class of the image. Okay, I can use this. So I can use the masthead and then target this and then target the image. So let's forget about the H1. We don't need to qualify. We don't need to overqualify it with the H1. So the masthead, and then target the image. So I'm only going through this fast because I believe you have some understanding of HTML and CSS. If you don't, you may just skip ahead. So let's say I want to reduce the width of this. I want to increase some spacing on top of it. So the first thing I will do is I will add a padding top. So padding top, and then padding at the top, let's make it 10 pixels. Okay, for some reason the padding is not working, so let me use margin top. So I think the reason why it's not working is because we have the style which has been added here, and since this is not working, I can add important, but if I add it inside here, it's probably going to work because this is going to come after the image. So the way that CSS works is that the element at the bottom always takes precedence. So if I have CSS here and I define it down here again, the one at the bottom will take precedence and the one at the top will be ignored. Let me leave it at 10 pixels and then I will copy it just to confirm that it works. Bring it inside here and I will paste it. So this should affect the image. Let me save and close. Let's see if it's going to affect it or not. So you can see it's not being recognized. It's not affecting it. Maybe this is being added by JavaScript and the JavaScript comes after this. So what we can do is we can just use this very bad practice of important. So if I use important, it's going to work. Copy. And you can see that it's adding the space there for us. So if I come back, edit, and then we'll go inside of the code and I can add important. Then save and close. So if I reload the page, this should persist. You know, if you change anything here and you reload the page without saving this on your styles, the changes will not be reflected when you reload the page. But if the change is still reflected once you reload the page, it means that everything is working fine and the style has been added on your CSS on your page. So that's the first thing that we've changed. We've seen how you can change that. So you can use the same mechanism to change anything else on the page. And in the next video, let's see how we can change this so that it can become a full width button. And we can also try to see if we add CSS to hide this item. So I will see you in the next video when we continue from here. Hello and welcome back. So what we are doing in this video is we are going to see how we can increase the width of this using custom CSS. And the first thing that I want to try is I want to see if I can hide this element using CSS. So I'm just going to inspect the element. Inspect element. Let's see where it is located. It is located at powered by So the class is powered by, let me see, and then powered by img. So we are selecting that img image, and let's display none. So if I say display none, you can see it hides it. Let's see if it's going to work when we add it on Mailchimp. So I'll just go in there, come inside there, and then paste it. And if I paste it and I save and close, and then I come back and I refresh, so you can see if I refresh, it's not being shown. And let me just come in here and take this link and open it on a different browser. Let me just open it, paste and go. Alright, so there we go. You can see that it works. And let's see what else we can change. So in this video, the plan was to increase the width of this. So if I select this element, I can increase it however I want. So inspect the element, and then I want to make this button full width. I want to make it the same width. I don't know the width of this. Let me see if there is an actual width for this. Inspect, and I can just use the same width. Okay, so it doesn't have a width. It's probably being done with an automatic width. I don't want to dig deep into this, so let me just go and add this width manually. Inspect the element. So if I just select this element and I come here to add a class so that it can automatically add the class for me, and I'll remove the overqualifier because I don't want it to be overqualified. Then let's see if I add a width and make it 100%. Okay, so the width is 100%. Let's see the implications. So if you want to change anything else, you can just try and change it. Maybe you want to increase the font, you want to increase the padding. That's entirely up to you. For now, let me just copy this and I will put it inside of my Mailchimp CSS. And save. And you can see that's how it is. If I refresh, you can see that the changes persist. So that's what we wanted to learn in this video, and we wanted to learn how to increase the width of this. So you can use the same mechanism to change all these other elements. Even if you want to use custom fonts, you can just use them. You can link the fonts from Google and then just use them here if you know how to use custom fonts. Alright, so that's pretty much it for this section about CSS. And if you want to change anything on your form, go ahead and change anything as much as you want to. So that's it for this video. If you have any questions, feel free to let me know. So I will see you in the next video. Hi and welcome back. So in this video, I know I said that we are going to look at translate it, but there's one thing I remembered that I did promise to show you how to do, but I didn't. And that is, if you want to add a background image on this so that it can have a background image, then in this video, I'm going to show you how you can do it. So if you don't know how to use HTML and CSS, as I said, you can just come to bizenosa.com/sp and then you'll go inside of this and you can join it on Udemy or Skillshare. So we want to add a background image, and I don't want to do a lot of CSS in this video. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to copy the CSS from this. This is a simple project that we created inside of inside of this course. So if you want to see how it was built, you can just come inside here and you'll see how it was built. So I want to copy the code from here, and I want to use any one of these images as a background on this. So I'll just come in here and let me inspect element. So I want to copy code from here, and I'm going to reuse it on the other one. So if I come inside of header, I want to take the code for background, copy, I'll just paste in the code there. So this is the code that will add a background image for us, and I will change this to body because I want it to affect the entire body of my form. So background, the background color, we want it to be white. So before the image loads, the background color should be white, and then the URL for our image, let's go and copy a URL for the image, and this just means that it should not repeat. This means that it should start from 0, that is at the top 0. So this is how you can center it. Okay, so let me come back here, and I want to take one of these images. Let me try and use this. I don't know the size of this one. Copy the image address, and I'm going to add the address inside here. Then if I copy this entire thing, copy, I will come back to design it, and I'll click on edit. Then I will go inside here, and if I paste this, let me paste it in there, and then save. So I can already see an issue with this image, and the issue is that the image is tiny. The image is pretty small, so it's not going to cover the entire width of the page. So let me take this other one. However, an alternative is I can just come in here, and if I go inside of inspect, I can change the image from no repeat to repeat. If I make it repeat, it's going to repeat itself so that it can cover the entire width of our page. So if I make it repeat, you'll see that it will repeat itself until it covers the entire width of our page. But I can select the other image because I know this one is much wider, and it's much wider. Okay, so how do I get to this image? Inspect element and go inside of header. The easiest way to get to this image. Let me come in here and copy this link, copy, and then let me just put it there, paste. Let's see if it brings the image, and there we go, it brings the image. Then I can copy that and let me bring it here. So if you want to use one image, make sure it's a big one. If you want it to be tiled, you can see this one has been tiled repeatedly until it covers the entire page. If that's not what you want, then make your image big. There we go. And let's change the URL of our image. Save and close. Okay, you can see that is much better, but it also seems to be a little tiny. Let's just see how it's going to be. Alright. Okay, so it's pretty huge. You can see this one is much bigger than the other one, and some of it is not really visible as such. So you know what, we can go one step further, and let me see, inspect element. Let me see if I can move this to this side. So wrapper, no. Masthead, no. is there any one thing that takes this entire form? Unfortunately, there isn't. Okay, it could be this one. No. Yeah, it's actually this one. So, template container. So the template container, let me move it to this other side. Let me see if I say float left. Okay, float left. So instead of float, let's just use left. Left. Okay, so for me to use these positioning things, I need to give it some kind of a position. So let's say position relative. Position relative, and then this one I can use something like negative. Negative 20%, negative. So of course this is something that will have to be inside of a what's it called, inside of a media query. Okay, so a media query is a way for you to make some images, some elements on your page appear differently on different browsers. So you can do it such that this is only available in a media query, so that when we resize it down, it doesn't look weird. Okay, so if you understand CSS, these are some things that you know what they mean. Like you can see now, this is moved all the way to the other side, and we don't want that on small devices. So we can enclose this inside of a media query, and let me just open this. I just want to go in there and paste it. So we can use a media query like media screen and a minimum width for this to take effect. Let's say maybe 980 pixels, and then background color, this one doesn't really matter, and then position left, position relative. Yeah, these are things that we want to happen when the screen is minimum width of that. So any screen that is 979 and below will not be affected with this. So let's just copy, and I'll bring it inside here and edit, go inside there, so let's make this 20. Then I'll save. So let's just refresh, and you can see that's how our page is on Mailchimp. So let's resize it down, and if we resize it, you can see that it doesn't affect it when the screen is small, except for the one that I added at the top. So this is something that you should also take care of. Okay, so you can see that since I added this, and Mailchimp should do a better job of this, since I added this element, where was it? Somebody remind me. I think it was inside of is it in body? Inside of body, or is it on the form? It's not on the form. is it on the page? Yes, it's on the page. And then on the header, since I added this negative 70 pixels, you can see that it affects it on small devices. So you may not want to do this. You can actually add this in CSS, okay? So you can add this on CSS using custom CSS, just like I showed you, and the rest will not get affected. So if you use media queries, it's going to ensure that the CSS doesn't get affected. So let me just add this inside of that media query. Inspect element. So I'll detach this. I don't want it to affect what I'm seeing. So what I want to do is I want to make this go back to where it was. So H1 masthead, I think it's the masthead. Masthead. Let me just make it cancel out with the other one. Margin top. Margin top, let's make it 70 pixels. Alright. So 70 pixels is going beyond where we wanted it to go. So let's make it 40. How about 0? Yes, 0 seems to be doing a better job. Okay, you can even make it negative 10 pixels. Okay, so negative 10 pixels. Copy. Then I can put that inside of the media query. Edit. Where is our media query? There we go. And I will save that. Come back here and refresh. So the best thing that you can do in this case is instead of changing this here, we can just leave this at 0 pixels, and then you can change it manually using CSS, now that you know how to change it with CSS. So let me just remove this bit. Save and close. Maybe I was using the wrong selector, but I don't have time to get into that, and the video is becoming extremely long for me, so I'm going to end it there. Okay, so you can see even this one has come down. So what you need to do is you need to push it up, and you can do that using CSS. Okay. Okay, so that's it for this video. If you have any questions, feel free to let me know, and in the next section, in the next video, let's see how you can translate the form. It's a very simple and easy process, and by now you've probably looked at it yourself and seen how it's done. So I'll see you in the next video.